Now, this fact surprised me. Pedestrian crashes and death actually go up in the fall compared to summer. I had no idea, but I want to bring in UDOT. We have Kristen Hoschauer with us today. Hi, Kristen. How are you?
Great, thank you.
Good. Now, that fact surprised me that the deaths and the crashes actually go up in the fall. Why is that as opposed to summer when everyone's out and about?
So we have our ideas of why this happens.
Hmm.
The weather is really nice in the fall, and
True.
people love to get out and walk, and we encourage them to walk and get out, and it's really great for their health. So we see a lot more people out walking in the fall. We also see that as the time changes, it gets darker earlier. And so
That's
people are
true.
out walking when it's dark. They may not have the right equipment for walking in the dark. They may not have anything reflective or bright, or they may be walking where vehicles can't see them. So it's very
Makes sense.
important that if you're out in the dark, you're wearing reflective clothing, you have something reflective on, make sure that cars can see you when you're crossing. Yeah, so those are our ideas of why that happens in the fall.
How interesting, and all of that makes sense now that you say it. Now, we obviously want to talk about children getting to and from school safely, biking and walking. Like you said, you encourage it, but it just needs to be done safely. So let's talk about how UDOT is helping with that.
So, with the Safe Routes Utah program, we have maps where parents can go online, and you go onto saferoutes.utah.gov and you can enter in your school's name and you can find out your safe walking route map so that your kids can get to school safely. And, this is the route where there's crossing guards, where there's most
Wow.
likely to have sidewalks. Some neighborhoods don't have sidewalks, but we have tips on there for what to do if your neighborhood doesn't have a sidewalk. And we just really want kids to walk and bike to school, but we want them to do it definitely safely. And there are so many great ways to do that on the Safe Routes Utah website.
100%. That's pretty impressive that you guys have, so many schools with the routes. I mean, I bet that took a lot of time, but it's so helpful to a lot of parents and students.
Yeah.
You mentioned the tips that you have. What are some of the tips that we can do to make sure, we're all saying, okay, make sure to look both ways, but what are some of the other tips to do?
Right. So if your neighborhood doesn't have a sidewalk, walk on the other side of the road. Make sure you're walking
Mhm.
against traffic, and so that the drivers can see you. With a helmet, with bikes, absolutely make sure that your kids are wearing a helmet.
Of
And then
course,
when
yeah.
they come to a crosswalk, make sure that they get off their bikes and walk across the street. And a lot of times a crossing guard will tell them to get off their bikes and walk. And then, just make sure they look both ways. If they see a parked car and they
Mhm.
can't see past that car, make sure they walk out a little bit more to make sure that they see that there's not a car coming before they cross any streets. These are just some of the basic tips that we give. For drivers, we absolutely want to make sure that
Right.
drivers are aware of what's around them. We want to make sure that,
Absolutely.
that they don't have any distractions. When you are especially around a school zone, make sure that you don't have any distractions around you, and that you give the pedestrians or the kids the right of way. Don't assume that you have the right of way at any time. If you see a kid, even if they're darting out in the street, make sure that you're aware of that and that you give them the right of way.
I
um,
like it. Well, Kristen, thank you so much for all this great info. Give them your website one more time.
saferoutes.utah.gov.
Wonderful. Thank you for all the good info, and we'll see you later.
Great, thank you.
And to follow up with that, there's also a walk and roll challenge going on now for kindergarten to 8th graders. It rewards students monthly with prizes for walking and biking to school. So it runs from September to May, and the more students walk or bike, the better chance they have of winning. What you can do is just go to saferoutes.utah.gov, and if it's easier, you can go to our website, click on our show, The Place, and we'll link you over. We'll be right back after this.